Hey guys, wrapping up at Dallas Cowboys training camp on behalf of RosterWatch Nation. Let's get right to it, the things that stood out. You know, I was here at training camp last year. I monitored the Cowboys pretty closely during the season. And, you know, I never thought Dak looked exactly like himself last season. I felt like he returned to the old Dak at this year's training camp. He looked like himself from years past, very mobile out there, not having to warm up nearly as long. I'd say he's made a complete and total recovery, and I think that'll show up on the field this year. In terms of the running back position, boy, I was blown away by Zeke Elliott at practice the last couple of days. He looked incredible. It looks like he's been renewed, rejuvenated, refreshed, however you want to put it. It really looks also like the old Zeke that we'd become accustomed to. Looked good in the run game, looked excellent in the passing game. I really see a return to prominence for Zeke Elliott this year. I think that all of us at this point should be making a point to draft him for our fantasy teams. He's providing excellent value, and shoot, his ADP's low enough right now. I think you can actually reach for him and it'll pay off. I mean, he is still very much going to be the centerpiece of this offense, but most importantly, he looked excellent. And then when we talk about the wide receiver position, of course, it was CeeDee Lamb running at number 1 spot. Jalen Tolbert, very clearly the wide receiver 2 on this team. There should be no shortage of opportunities for him. Looked really, really good out there today. One thing that surprised me is he was really known as a deep threat in college. He was being used underneath in a variety of ways today. Pretty slick route runner. A little bit of a rangier frame than I expected. Really quite impressed with Jalen Tolbert. I think he's going to slide in pretty well. I did see Michael Gallup running around, moving around out here pretty well today in the midst of his rehab. You know, I'm not sure how that affects his timeline, but I can tell you he looks like a guy who's getting healthy pretty quickly, that's for sure. So that'll be interesting to kind of bake into our projections as it relates to the Cowboys this year. I would say behind Jalen Tolbert, it was Dennis Houston running as the number 3 all day today. And then the other guys that look like they're, you know, squarely in the mix to make the team are Noah Brown, Semi Fehoko, and I think TJ Vasher's probably the next guy up. And then behind that, there's a lot of dudes on the bubble. But I'll say as a group, I think the Cowboys receivers actually do look pretty competent out here. I felt like Dak was really spreading it around. This wasn't like Rams camp. It really wasn't even like Chargers camp, where Cooper Kupp was absolutely dominating reps at Rams camp, and Keenan Allen was still clearly leading the team in targets and looks from Justin Herbert over with the Chargers. And obviously, if we do the mental math, I mean, CeeDee Lamb is in for a big role and a lot of targets this year, but I didn't get quite the same impression that he was, you know, the focal point, hell or high water, as I did with guys like Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen at the previous camps that we visited this year on the tour. So maybe something to keep in mind, but, you know, again, I think if we just deduce the opportunity here, it's still quite big for Lamb, and he looks awesome. I mean, he's a good player. He burned Trevon Diggs on a deep route today. He runs all the routes. I think he looks like he's bulked up and put on some muscle, is kind of growing into that NFL body, which certainly is a pleasant development for Lamb, who's kind of been on the thinner side as a young wide receiver in the NFL. And then I think last but not least, at the tight end position, Dalton Schultz looks really good in one-on-ones. But I was a little bit surprised he wasn't more of a focus in the team drills in 11-on-11s. I was expecting to see a few more targets. I did see a little more Sean McKeon, the other tight end that I didn't expect to see so much of. So I wonder if they still, you know, post Blake Jarwin, plan on kind of deploying a bit of a 2 tight end offense at times here, having a couple guys in the rotation that contribute. Again, though, I think if we just do the deduction with the relative lack of experience at the wide receiver position, I mean, Dalton Schultz really should be in for a big year this season. And for what it's worth, maybe he didn't get all the attention I was hoping for during team drills today, but he sure does look damn good out there in one-on-ones. He's a really nice, athletic-looking player. And, you know, I think Dalton Schultz is a guy I'm going to try to key in on at the tight end position in my own fantasy drafts.